Okay. Okay. Streaming right now. Okay. Let me just put this on Twitter here. Hey everyone. Okay, here we go. We are live right now. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day today. It's the start of the weekend. Oh. Okay. Congrats on your dreams coming true. Thank you, Benjamin. What are your thoughts on the Fast and Furious movies? I used to like the older ones when I was a kid. The new ones are kind of stupid. Hey, Patrick, love the video you made. Thank you, Isaiah. Maybe one day. I mean, Rockstar does have the rights to it, Mr. Nowhere. Thank you, dude. That was an awesome channel update video. Thank you.
There are things you could do to lower the price, huh? This will be a little out of the ordinary, yes?
How does it feel to finally achieve your dreams? It feels good. I can relax, and I'm truly happy with my life, and, you know, happy with running my rental properties, and happy with my channel. And I'm happy to do what whatever I want to do on my channel. I'm in Switzerland, and I'm happy, and I'm actually going to have a daughter in 6 months. So life is good for me. Glad it's going well for you, too. Oh, well, thank you very much for being a, thank you for being a channel member for nearly a year. Thank you to Holy Gold Nugget. Thank you, man. And, congratulations. And congratulations on being a dad. Thank you for the support. Would Gairu Tornado have been kicked out of court for her outfit? Yes. Also, guys, I will have the next part of Ace Attorney up after the stream today. Nice coat. It looks cool. Thank you. This isn't really a coat. It's more of a shirt. In LA Noire, there's a blooper. Go watch it. Okay. Maybe I'll do a video separately covering the blooper. How do I watch the blooper? Is it in the game itself? Thank you, Agent Reaper, for the super chat. Hey, Patrick, I wrote a comment on your new video. Oh, thank you, Communist Coroner. Thank you for the super chat. When did you post a comment? Did you post it within the last hour? I could try to find it. When did you post it? Oh, okay. I might do a video reacting to it then, Agent Reaper. Thank you for the super chat. What's your thoughts on the 4th case of Spirit of Justice so far? Did you complete it already? I did complete it. It turned out to be better than I thought it was at the end. Like, the beginning was kind of weird, but the end actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was. And let me invite you, Chess. Are you on Red Dead right now? No, I haven't watched the video, of Tony Soprano. Oh, you posted like 5 to 10 minutes after the video uploaded. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find your comment right now. Okay, I can look for your comment. I'll just have to look for it a little bit later after the stream, but I'll try to find it. Thoughts on the new Mafia trailer? I've watched it. I'm gonna do a reaction when we actually have like a, you know, trailer with the characters and stuff. What I'm really curious about is I'm really curious what year the game is gonna take place in specifically, in the what year it's going to be. Okay, well, what did you, well, why don't you tell me, Corner, what did you write, in the comment? Yeah, there's a new Mafia game. It's called Mafia the Old Country. Thank you, Mr. Nowhere. When will we be playing Spider-Man 2? No rush. Well, I'd want to play Spider-Man 1 first. Probably sometime next year, because I got a lot of playthroughs to still do this year. And thank you, Feline King. Hey, bro, congratulations on 1.1 million subscribers. You're an honest person. You deserve it. Glad to be part of your journey. Been subbed since 2018. Thank you, DHC. Thanks, man. Thanks for being, a member for 2.5 years. Congrats, Pro, on all that you have achieved. You're a good, honest person. I wish you continued success. You're living most of our dreams, a gaming job. Thank you, Fernando. Thanks, man. Thank you for helping me to moderate, Fernando and Chaz. Thoughts on the Disney wrongful death lawsuit? Well, it sounds, I remember they're using the TOS from their Disney Plus service to try to get out of it. That's one of the dumbest defenses that I've heard. You're gonna be blown away by the case after that. It's the only case I ever cried for about 10 minutes after the plot twist revealed. It's very emotional. So this we're talking about the Turnabout Revolution, right? Because that's the next one. I saw your comment on Colleen Noir's video. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat. Yeah, I like Colleen Noir's channel. He's a good guy. I like a lot of his videos. A recent lawsuit with Adobe? What's that? Is a scammer a psychopath? It depends. A scammer can definitely be a psychopath. But the thing is, though, is psychopaths are typically born psychopaths, so not every single person that's going to be a scammer is going to be a psychopath. But, you know, psychopaths are just, in generally, you know, greedy people that don't want to do a lot of work. They want as much money as possible for as little work as possible. And how a lot of these scammers think is they basically think that the victims are stupid and they deserve to get scammed. That's what a lot of the scammers think. That's how they justify it in their heads. They basically think that these people are dumb, and so they deserve to get scammed. That's how the scammers justify it in their minds. I've seen a lot of videos where, like, you know, scam baiters argue with the scammers, and they always say the same thing. They say that the people are stupid and they deserve it. So that's basically how a lot of these people think in their minds, is they take advantage of people, especially older people, and they think that just because that they're old and they don't know about technology, they somehow think that they deserve to get scammed. So these people are just, you know, cold-hearted people. They don't care about anyone. You know, they only care about themselves. They're extremely selfish. Oh, I used my, you know, regular Logitech, you know, camera. And thank you, Agent Reaper. Did I also see the announcement of Sniper Elite Resistance? Also, huge fan. Huge congrats, Pro. Very happy for you. Thank you, Bunny. Thank you for being a member of my channel for nearly 3 years. And yes, I will be playing Sniper Elite Resistance when it comes out. I'm excited for it. The scammer that got the poor lady killed and the old man in prison is a psychopath. Yeah, I would agree with that. Why do you hate GTA 5 and praise GTA 4? Honestly, they're both good games. I don't hate GTA 5. What makes you think that I hate GTA 5? I just said that, that I think that GTA 4 is the best one in the series. I said I thought GTA 4 is better than GTA 5. Doesn't mean I hate GTA 5. Could Dr. Fontaine be a psychopath? Definitely, yeah. extremely manipulative, doesn't care about anyone but himself. Tomorrow I'll probably have another Fallout 3 part, and next week I will have the LA Noire lore video. Anyway, speaking of the scammer, you should be be careful, those expert scammers, because I was watching a YouTuber named Scammer Payback. The scam can tracking them. What do you mean? He was tracking Scammer Payback? Scammer Payback is a very intelligent man, though. He's you know, he's way more smarter than me, and he can you know, he knows how to track these scammers down exactly. He's able to find out their names and stuff like that. He's able to hack into their cameras. I'm not that smart. The only thing I know how to do is I know how to trick the scammers basically into clicking a link. That's the only thing I know how to do. I basically fake accents and pretend to be an old man. I trick the scammers into clicking a link, and it's a Grabify link, and from that I get their IP addresses. That's the only thing I know how to do when it comes to tricking scammers. But Scammer Payback is a lot smarter than me. You know, he's able to actually track them down, figure out their names, you know, hack in their security cameras. You should do an updated YouTube tips video. Yeah, maybe I could do one on that. Hey, congrats, Pro, on 1.1 million. I really like your videos where you talk about stuff speaking from the heart. Thank you, Tyler Boy. Thanks, man. That means a lot to me. And thank you, Random Fist. Hi, Pro. I won't be able to make your GTA stream this Sunday, so I thought that I would drop in and say hi now. It's okay, Random Fist. You don't have to come by every stream, but thank you for the support, man. I do appreciate it. Thank you, man. Tracking means scam can find you the locations. Well, honestly, even if a scammer, like, you know, I'll tell you something, even if a scammer finds out where I am, like, they find out my address, I'm not scared of them. It's like, you know, a lot of these scammers are not even in the United States. Like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna fly over here and, like, you know, come to my house. So I'm not scared of them. So even if scammers, you know, figured out my address and stuff like that, I'm not scared of them at all. Congratulations on being a father. You're gonna be great at it. Oh, I'm not a father, Sean. Thank you for the super chat. I think you were referring to Golden Nugget earlier. Golden Nugget said he was having a daughter, but thank you for the super chat, man. Let me see here. Hot take, but from what we've heard, I don't think GTA 6 will surpass Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not saying it'll be a bad game because it'll be good, but Red Dead Redemption 2 will still be the king. Well, GTA 6 is definitely going to have more sales than Red Dead Redemption 2, and GTA 6 might even have triple the amount of sales that GTA 5 had. So that's entirely possible on that. GTA 6 is going to be the best-selling Rockstar game of all time, 100%. This is the game that Rockstar has worked on for many years. This is, you know, their all-time, you know, most popular, you know, game series. So this is gonna be their biggest project ever. Congrats, Pro. Can I ask a random question? I'm facing rough times. What's your question, Suspect 13? Patrick, you remember, Baby Einstein's video series? What's that? Thank you, BJ. What is that? Can you explain? They should have debate between Colleen and Harris. Well, thank you for the super chat, Ryan. I don't want to get into you know, politics, but I think that Colleen would yeah, I think he would definitely win that debate. Do you think hard work beats talent? What do you mean? You mean that if somebody is talented, they don't have to work as hard? Is that what you're getting at? I can't super chat my comment, but stay strong, Pro. Well, can you write down what your comment was earlier? I'll try to look in the comments for it. I'll try to find it just now. If you can just comment it. I do appreciate the super chat. Yeah, you play as a British guy. I know that helps the French Resistance and Sniper Elite Resistance. He's Carl's partner in Sniper Elite 3 and 4. I think that somebody can be talented, but to be talented, you kind of have to work hard to be talented, too. So, Late night stream. Damn, I'm getting old. Can't stay awake this late. Have a great stream, Pro. Thank you, Manix, and thanks for sponsoring my channel for nearly 2 years. Thanks, man. Yeah, I heard your voice message. I will look into that game too. No, no, Katos, it doesn't. Wait, they hacked your friend, Orion? What? In my comment, I said I loved your LA Noire playthrough. I like your knowledge and opinions in all the cases, and I'm also excited to see you play Metal Gear Solid. Also, I was wondering if you could ever play Silent Hill. When is the Silent Hill remake coming out? When is that coming out? I could play that probably when that comes out. I've never played Silent Hill, so it'll be like my first time playing it. So I think it'll be fun. Have I ever watched Breaking Bad? If yes, would you eat either at Los Pollos Hermanos or get served a burrito by Tuco Salamanca? Well, Los Pollos Hermanos looks like it's I'm just a pretty big fan of chicken, so yeah, I probably would go there. But also you would probably see Hector, and that would probably be scary. It wouldn't be as scary seeing Gus, but seeing Hector would probably be scary. Can you play Far Cry 3, 4, and 5? I will play Far Cry 2 one day, Sean. That's on my list of games to play. Thank you for the super chat. And hang on 1 second here.
What the devil?
No, I don't think I remember videos like that, BJP. What do I think of California gun laws? My opinion is I think that they're too, I think they're too excessive. I think they're too extreme. I don't think that criminals follow laws. And so I think that those laws that are in California, I think they penalize legal gun owners. I don't think they're there to penalize criminals. Because my town in the Midwest, where I live, is, there are so many people that carry firearms here, and we almost have no shootings. No violence. I watch my daily news, like, every day, too, in my town, and we have, like, no violence whatsoever. So, in my personal opinion, and feel free to disagree with me, but in my opinion, I just don't think that it's the guns. I think that it's more the people. I think, criminals, and I think, like, crazy people. I think it's, like, bad people. So I don't think that it's, I don't think that that's necessarily the guns they're to blame. I did see the new Sniper Elite game, yes. It looks good. I'm definitely gonna get it. I've seen the videos, Mario, but I don't really want to get into that. I just want to, stay away from politics. Do I know how to drive manual transmission? Not really, no. I remember, like, years ago, me and my friend, we drove to a parking lot, and he, let me try to drive his manual car for a little bit, but it was, I wasn't getting the hang of it, so no. I know you have to shift gears, like, when you get to a certain speed, you have to shift gears, I know that, but no, I don't really know that. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. Congrats on 1.1 million. Subs Patrick, you're my idol. You introduced me to so many games. I look forward to your future. Thank you, Sean. Thanks, man. I hope everything is well with you too. My status about my case against my job developer manager. My lawyers quote unquote making them quit their jobs due to the severity of my allegations. Oh. And can you remind me, Aiden, which situation did you tell me about? I'm sorry, just a lot of people that have told me different stories, so I'm just trying to remember which story you told me. But what was the situation at work that happened to you again? Can you just remind me? I'm sorry, man. There's just a lot of people have just told me about, like, bad situations at their jobs. I'm just trying to remember everybody's story. I wish more Americans had the same opinion as you. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. I always thought I didn't like Squidward. I didn't like how he was negative when I was a kid, but when I started working in retail and dealing with customers, I understood him much more. I could probably handle Silent Hill 2. I did play the original Medal of Honor games on the PS1, yes. Thank you, a Grim Reaper 85, also. That, Oh, that's fine, Brandon. If you were a British commando, which weapon would you choose? The Delisle Carbine or the Suppressed Sten? You're talking about, World War II, right? When you say that? It depends, really. It depends on the environment, heavily. When it comes to, if we're talking about, like, being a commando that's dropped into, like, you know, Nazi-occupied France, I'd rather have a Delisle Carbine. If we're talking about, you know, being a commando and dropped into, like, the jungles of Burma against the Japanese, then I would have preferred to have a Suppressed Sten. Well, I did a GTA Guesser video with Dark Viper, a second one, a couple months back. I don't think he's uploaded it yet, but he's very busy. He has, like, a lot of projects to do, but he will also, he'll get on. I know he will upload it one day when he has the time. I know he's busy with, like, a lot of projects. Have you watched the new Mafia game trailer? When will, let me see here, when will I do a Mafia trilogy playthrough? Where am I gonna go? Let's go to Ansburg. I will come back to the Mafia games, and I'll be doing a playthrough of all of them, Mafia 1 through 3. The only thing is, I'm just really curious. Do you guys think the new Mafia game is going to come out first, or do you think that GTA 6 is going to come out first? Because they're made by different developers, but they're both open-world crime games, and they're both made by the same publisher, Take-Two Interactive. So both of those games are going to be released in 2025, But the thing about that is those games are not going to be, the dates are not going to be close. So both games are going to be months apart because Take-Two is not going to want to release an open world crime game right after another open world crime game because it's going to interfere with sales. So like if Mafia is released and then GTA 6 is released like 1 week after, people aren't going to buy Mafia, they're going to buy GTA 6. So Take-Two is going to want to release, you know, the games separate. But my question is, what's going to come out first? It's going to be Mafia, the Old Country, or it's going to be GTA 6? What do you guys think? Thank you, Mr. Jesus. Why do states get away with infringing on 2A rights? Well, I will tell you, I will tell you, though, that a huge reason that politicians, like, you know, pass a lot of these stupid laws, and they get away with it is because, you know, I would say that a lot of times people don't care. They don't actively say something about it. I will say that, that when it comes to, like, New York, for example, is New York had this really stupid law that was, like, passed. I remember it was, like, right when I was getting out of high school, too, like, when they passed it. But basically what New York State did is they did it that, when it comes to firearms, it was, like, the max limit that people can have in a firearm is, 7. That's what they did. So it's, like, 7. But the people who passed that gun law, you can tell they have no idea about firearms. They have no idea how firearms work, because if you know about firearms, you would know the vast majority of handguns, standard capacity for them, especially semi-automatic handguns, is 10. So what that law basically did was it made pretty much every single handgun illegal overnight. And what ended up happening is they took it to the they took it to the courts. And the New York State, like, appeals court, basically what they did was they changed, like, the wording of the law, and they said that people can have, like, a 10-round magazine, but they can only load it to 7, which is, like, one of the stupidest laws ever, which is, like, you know, how are you going to enforce something like that? That just sounds so stupid, that somebody can have a 10-round magazine, but you can only load it to 7, so if you accidentally load 8 instead of, you know, 7, that's a felony at that point, which is punishable by 1 year in prison. It's one of the stupidest, dumbest laws that I've ever seen. It's such a poorly written law, it's so stupid. And there was actually a veteran that was, like, a former military veteran who was driving his pickup truck upstate, and he had a handgun, I know, in, like, the glove compartment in his truck, and he was legally allowed to have that handgun, he was legally allowed to have it in his truck, and there was, like, a state trooper that pulled him over, and the state trooper basically just took his handgun, and what he did was he started counting the amount of bullets in the gun, and so he counted 10 bullets. And so again, remember, the law says that you can own a 10-round magazine, but you can only load it to 7, and so he loaded 3 extra bullets, even though he's allowed to own a 10-round magazine, and the cop basically arrested him for that. And what that was, like, the first person that got arrested for that case, and the cop also violated his Fourth Amendment rights, because that's basically the Fourth Amendment is meant to protect you against illegal search and seizures, and that's pretty much an illegal search and seizure. The fact that the cop felt that he had the right to go through his stuff like that and search that. And when it actually got to the prosecutor's table, the prosecutor, what he did was he dropped the case. Like, he actually dropped all charges. And the prosecutor himself even said, this is such a stupid thing to prosecute somebody for. Like, this guy's not a criminal. And it's like, you know, we're wasting our time and taxpayers' money on something so stupid when we could be going after real criminals. So I would say that, you know, to basically prevent laws like this from passing is people need to write to their congressman, they need to actively complain, and they need to tell their congressman that they're not going to vote for them if they're going to support stupid, dumb laws like that. Not getting into politics here, but just covering, like, idiotic laws. Just, that's what I would just say about that. Is that's what, I hope that answers your question, Ryan. Let me see here. I said to my job developer if I can bring in a service animal in the workplace, and he said, I think it's unnecessary, and my manager was there, and she ignored it. Oh. If it's a service animal, and you need that animal, your job cannot deny you. Your job can't tell you no. You know, they have to be accommodating to that. So your lawyer did a good job by dealing with that scumbag boss. I'm sorry that you went through that, Aiden. See here. Oh no, my chat froze again. I hate when this happens. It's gonna resume in a second here. I have the feature where chat is linked directly to OBS. Okay, it's unfrozen now. Take a shot every time the Yuta says, let it go and move on. I hate that line so much when he says that. I'll definitely play the new Mafia game when it comes out, Sean. 100% I will. Missed the chat. Oh, hey, Agent Reaper. Will I ever play any of the old Hitman game? It's a great question. I was actually thinking about that today. The Hitman Anniversary is coming out in November, right? That's when the first Hitman game was released. I could do a playthrough of all of them. Hey Pro, 1 year now, a member, and 6 years when I stumbled upon the Criminal Mastermind Guide. Love the videos, especially lore videos. So much thought into them. Thank you, Greatest Within. Thank you for being a member of my channel for a year. Thanks, man. Well, it really depends on the environment that you're in, Gunner, and it also depends on the season, too. Do you know, do you know what the worst, do you know what the worst sniper, do you know what the worst sniper outfit in history is? People wondering, like, what was the worst sniper outfit that a soldier ever wore in history? The worst sniper outfit that a soldier ever wore in history, that's an easy one. That is in the Winter War, when the Soviet Union invaded Finland. The Soviet snipers, at the beginning of the war, what the Soviet snipers wore is they wore dark green jackets in a snowy environment. So imagine that. Finland is all snowy. It's all white. Soviet snipers wore a dark green jacket in that environment. And not only that, they wore, like, this really, like, you know, kind of pointy hat. I don't know what it's called. And it had, like, a really big red star on it. Like, a really big red star. And the red star, we're not talking, like, the small Soviet red star that's, like, on the hat. We're talking, like, a really big red star, like, this big. That's how big the red star was. That is the stupidest, like, you know, sniper costume that I've ever seen in any kind of, you know, war. That's probably the dumbest one ever. That was, such a stupid thing that in a snowy environment you would wear a dark green jacket and you would wear a hat with a big red star on it. That's the stupidest, you know, outfit that a sniper could possibly wear. It sounds like something out of a cartoon. No, I'm not joking. If you look up what the Soviet snipers, what they looked like at the beginning of the war, it wasn't until like a month in that they decided, you know what, maybe we should start wearing white uniforms in a snowy environment. It was like, I don't know, like, what they were, you know, what they were thinking with that. Hey, Pro, are you ignoring my comment? No, Tanner, I'm not ignoring your comment. There's a lot of people there posting. What's your question, man? I'll answer it. Budanovka, that's what it's called. That's the pointy hat that you were referencing to. They wore that hat in the Russian Civil War, yes. Congratulations on 1 million. What's one thing you would like to see in Mafia the Old Country? Good question. I was actually discussing this with my friend GB the other day. GB, are you still here in the chat by any chance? But what I was basically discussing with my friend GB is I don't want a story, just a mainly story-driven game when it comes to Mafia the Old Country. I want side activities. That's what I want. I want side activities that you can do. Because one thing I didn't like about Mafia 2 is that Mafia 2 is basically a never-ending story. Like, it's a story that just keeps going and going and going. You never have a break. You never have, like, a time to do anything else on the side. It's just like a never-ending story. So that's what I didn't like about Mafia 2. And that's what I would say about Mafia the Old Country. I hope that, like, you actually have to activate missions. You actually have to start up missions. Like, that's like a never-ending, you know, mission. I searched up Winter War and Simo Haiha came up. Well, Simo Haiha was the greatest sniper that ever lived. He got 505 confirmed kills in 3 months, and he got an extra 300 kills with a submachine gun. So he had his kill tally is a total of 800. So that guy is like an actual real life Rambo. Congratulations on 1 million. And thank you, Doc, and greatest within. Did Tanner leave a comment yet? Let me see. Tanner, did you post? I'm trying to find your comment. Tanner, okay, when we're at 2 minutes, let's deliver the target. I missed Agent Reaper's 14 super chat early. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Hold on, let me look. I'm sorry. Thank you, Naomi, for telling me. I'm sorry, Agent Reaper. Let me look. I'm sorry. There's a lot of comments coming by, and oh, my favorite console's 2000 is regular PS3, 60 gigabyte backwards compatibility. Can play any game PS2 games. Well, I actually had the old fat PS3 model also, and I did like how you could play PS2 games on that also. The one PS2 game that I constantly kept playing is the SOCOM games. The SOCOM Combined Assault and SOCOM 3, those are the games I played a lot on my PS2, was those games. Thank you, Agent Reaper. Most evil LA Noire character will have to be Dr. Fontaine or Garrett Mason. Wait, what did you say, Game and Inc? Did you, let me, you made a comment earlier? I'm sorry, dude, hold on, let me look. Oh, I'm sorry. What faction in Fallout 4 do I think is the best to side with? I'm sorry that I missed your super chat, Game and Inc. I apologize. I think the best one is probably the Minutemen. The Minutemen probably have the best, you know, the heart of the Commonwealth. You know one thing I think was a giant mistake is they should have made Nuka World a bigger DLC, and they should have made it where in Nuka World that you can actually invade the Institute with the Raiders. I think that they should have done that and like bring down the Brotherhood of Steel with the Raiders too. I think they should have had something like that too. That was I think that was like a missed opportunity. Let me see here. I own LA Noire and I never played it, but I did really enjoy your playthrough. Well, thank you, Holy Golden Nugget. Thank you, man. I will be playing Saints Row 1 in 2006, in August of 2026, when they when it's the 20-year anniversary. I'll play it. Speaking of which, we'll be doing a San Andreas playthrough this year because it's a 20-year anniversary, right? October this.
In some bad business up on the ridge. Thieves hijacked a caravan and ran off with our
I think I
goods.
watched a
I would normally leave
history
this kind
video
of
on
thing
him
alone,
before
but
Star Sailor.
company is offering
Simple history,
quite a
right?
reward here, and maybe that would be of interest to you. I thought it might.
What's the most peaceful and
Okay,
stable
off you go.
organization in the
Like I
Wasteland
said,
in Fallout
was
3?
up on Lone Oak Ridge. Bring
The
it in
Brotherhood.
and you'll be paid.
Yeah, the Brotherhood. Top 10 characters in the Sopranos. How... I like the characters, but a lot of the characters are scumbags. That's the thing, is... Even the characters that don't do bad things in the Sopranos are scumbags. Man, your outfit looks great. Thank you, man. Was the breakdown in the fourth case weird? A little bit. Yeah, but we've solved the case and we got the correct murderer. And yeah, they admitted to it at the end. I felt like I made an impact in my community for the cause, and they could have done this multiple times. And I used to work at a non-profit organization that helps people with disabilities. Well, I'm happy that you you talked to your lawyers and you got through that situation. I'm sorry that your boss did that to you. Aiden. The tree mongers, maybe they're peaceful, but even though they're peaceful, they're not really helping anyone outside the wasteland. I'll look into it, Gunner. Case 5 in Spirit of Justice. I'll lose my mind who the prosecutor will be, huh? I'm really curious by that. People have told me that Case 5 is the best case in the entire Ace Attorney series. People have told me. So I'm excited. Do I still go to the gym? I've been visiting my parents for a month, you know, now. I'm gonna go back in 2 weeks. And I go to my apartment gym, like, you know, usually three times a week, but I've been working out in, you know, my basement now, the last month. Well, yeah. I started working out, like, 2 weeks ago again, because I took, like, a break for a few weeks, and I kind of slacked off. Empire or Stormcloaks from Skyrim? I would suggest a third option. I would suggest my ideal situation about the about what should happen is I think that the Stormcloaks should be the ones who should rule Skyrim, but even though they're the ones who should rule Skyrim, there should be rules in play on, you know, what they can and can't do. So I would say let Skyrim be independent, let the Stormcloaks run it, but have an alliance with the Empire, and, you know, allow Imperial citizens to freely travel through Skyrim, and grant, you know, non-Nords the same rights as Nords. That's what I would say. Because the Nords are kind of hypocrites on how they get so angry at the Empire for, you know, banning the worship of Talos, but at the same time is they basically treat the Dark Elves like, you know, garbage. So they're massive hypocrites too. So I would say that my solution would be that the Stormcloaks rule, but they, you know, give equal rights to everyone that lives in Skyrim, and they also make an alliance to the Empire. That's, I think, would be the best solution. I think everybody can agree with that. Favorite partner and captain in LA Noire? My favorite partner is, Murkowski. But, my favorite, captain is probably the arson captain. Wait until like 4 minutes and we'll deliver the wagon. What was the guy's name in The Sopranos who owned the sports shop and ended up in debt to Tony? Oh, we're talking about Davey. I forget his last name. But his name was Davey. I know that.
Damn bastard. You're a dead man.
What's your question, Gretty? Sure, Aiden, but I don't think that would work in an Ace Attorney game. Dave Scatino. Okay. NCR or Legion from Fallout New Vegas? Neither. I would side with Mr. House. I remember when Tony's like, Davey, you're doing a good job. Or that too. You know this isn't a tank, Phelps. Wait. Do the partner say that when you crash?
I tried to warn you.
Wait, you tried to warn me? What?
I ain't fair to you.
What's going on? What the? What happened to Matthew Ryan and LA Noire after the events and everything? Oh, he was released. Thank you, Bunny. Yeah, he was released. He was not guilty. What's your opinion on Hello Neighbor? Wait, what? What's that? How are you? Are you gonna play Mafia the Old Country when it releases? Yes, I'll play it. Bro, you can just call me Golden. It's easier to say that. Okay. Hey, Pro, how are you, man? It's been a while since I managed to join a stream between college and working on my own YouTube. 1,000 subs, though. Thanks for the video tips. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you, CW Games. Thanks, man. I hope you've been good, too. Have you ever thought about doing motivational speaking? I don't know if that would be really for me. Maybe I could try, but... It's a Hello Neighbor, it's a horror game? Oh, really? Huh. Can I motivate you to get back into the gym and get your life together? I don't know what I can say to motivate you to get back in the gym. The thing that I was I will tell you the thing that motivated me personally to get back in the gym. What always motivated me to get back in the gym was that I
could
one
just
second.
kill you. You know, you're lucky I got this work. See, I will turn on anybody at any minute. If that is, it's in my interest to do so. I'm all about Joe. Keeping him rich and keeping him breathing, which is where these boats come in. They're smugglers' boats with some decent cargo. you'll get them for me. From north of LaGras, and you'll be paid good for it. I hope we can both be relied on to act in our own self-interests.
So, what I was trying to tell you is what always got me motivated to work out and get back in the gym is I felt like if I started slacking off, I felt like I would lose all the progress that I made. So that's always what motivated me to keep working out, is I felt like I would lose my progress, and I'll be back, square one. So that's what always, motivated me to work out more. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, have you ever played Kingdom Come Deliverance Pro? It's a historically accurate medieval, European RPG that I think you'd like. It can make for a good playthrough for the series for the channel. I know a bit about Kingdom Come Deliverance. The thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance is I actually have it, but I never got far into it. Basically, I completed, like, the prologue when you're at the village, and then the village gets attacked by the Hungarians, and then, like, you escape, to the castle. That's the part that I got up to. But, when it comes to the history, a lot of ancestors on my father's side of the family are actually Cumans. So, like, my ancestry, like, goes back to that, that time period, and I know that, my father's family, that, if you go back, you can, like, trace Cuman ancestry. But my father's family is not, like, doesn't have, like, Hungarian Cuman ancestry, it's Polish Cuman ancestry. But I know the Cumans are in, they are in Kingdom Come. They're considered, like, the antagonists in that game. No, not Cuba. Cumans. The Cumans. The Cumans were a nomadic people that were from Central Asia that, like, settled into, like, Eastern and Central Europe in that time period. Should the ATF have been abolished by now? Honestly, I think they should have after Waco. But I will tell you is if I was the president, I would there's two government agencies that I would abolish if I was president, and the two government agencies that I would abolish is the CIA, and I would abolish the ATF also, because the thing about that is that all of the other agencies have, like, made mistakes in the past, but they've still done more good things than bad things. Like, the DEA has still done more good things than bad things. The FBI has still done more good things than bad things. So, but the CIA and the ATF are the opposite. The CIA and the ATF have actually done more bad things than good things. And so, like, I think that those agencies, I would personally abolish them. I would get rid of them. So if I was, like, president, I would abolish both of those agencies personally. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. Rival players can attack the boats. Okay. You're not gonna last the day if you become president, pro. Yeah, the CIA will probably assassinate me. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's been kind of hard to do videos when I move because I'm still getting my setup together, and I hate not being able to make content. Okay. Well, I hope that you're able to get your setup together and able to make content in the future. But yeah, for people wondering why I would abolish those two agencies, it's because the CIA is pretty self-explanatory. The CIA is the most hated American government agency outside the U.S. So when you talk to people, non-Americans, everybody knows what the CIA is. Like, everybody pretty much knows. Like, even if you're not American, you know what the CIA is. And the CIA, like, and when I say that everybody knows who the CIA is, that's not a good thing. Whenever people think of the CIA, they typically think of bad things and for a reason. Because the CIA has destabilized so many countries, they have been involved in so many coups, so many people have died because of them, they've been involved in the drug trade with the cartels, they've helped cartels out, they did human experimentation on people's brains. The CIA worked with Nazi rocket scientists also, like they worked with a lot of Nazi scientists. So it's they've done so many horrible things. Like there's so many bad things that they've done, and if I was president, I would have definitely abolished them. I think the CIA has run its course, and I think that it's not needed anymore. And also, here's the thing is, if an American president actually abolished the CIA, that would actually be really good for America, because a lot of countries around the world would start liking America, or maybe not liking America, but I would say more, maybe respecting America more, because the CIA is an agency that pretty much most countries hate. So, like, if an American president abolished it, I think that would make a lot of other countries happy. See here, the Cumans were originally the Kipchak Confederation in Central Asia, as you said. They were pressured into Europe by the Mongols, and their largest populace was in Hungary. Let me see here. Which one we gotta do? We'll do destroy supplies.
All right. Okay. Now, can you tell me what's the goddamn point of being a goddamn gunslinger if folks don't pay up when you ask? The Cornwall Company, they knew what it would cost to have me as a friend.
The thing about that is,
I need you to head on
let me ask you something, Irish. Are you aware of who the Tatar people are? Because,
again. You know where they is. Get on over there.
My father is a Polish Tatar, and I actually asked him about the Cumans, and he told me that a huge amount of the Cumans are Tatars. That's basically what my father told me, that they're closely related. But when I actually Googled it and I researched it, it was like people were saying that the Tatars are Cumans, and other people were saying that they're not. But they both come from the exact same region in Central Asia, which is that's always confused me a bit. But my father told me that the Tatars and the Cumans are the same people. So my dad at least told me. But I was always a little confused by that. Okay, let's go to the oil fields here. Why would I get rid of the ATF? Because the ATF serves no other purpose than to pretty much harass gun owners. That is pretty much like the whole purpose of the organization. Is you would think that an organization like the ATF would primarily go after like the really bad people, like the gangs and the drug cartels, like a lot of people that are like committing like the worst gun violence. But instead is yeah, well, my father basically told me that that his family basically comes from Polish Cumans. That's basically what my father told me. He said that they're really the same people, but I've always just been confused by that because people both use Tatar and Cuman, and that's why I've just been a bit confused by that. But about the ATF, what I was getting at earlier is Have any of you guys ever seen those YouTube videos? You know those YouTube videos where, basically, there's like these federal agents that are like coming to people's houses, And the federal agents, like, when they come to people's houses, they start asking them, like, stupid questions. They start asking them, like, questions like, did you buy, like, 3 handguns in a month or something like that? Like, they'll just be asking people that, and they'll just be harassing them, like, refusing to get off their porch. If you ever see, like, those videos, 99% of the time, those federal agents that are doing that are ATF. Like, almost always. And so it's like, that's... For me, personally, that's, like, such a, dumb thing to go to somebody's house and harass them over. Because if somebody bought, like, 3 handguns in a month, it's not a big deal. I know it's expensive, but it's not a big deal. If they're not a criminal, then there's no reason to harass them whatsoever. But the ATF, I know the ATF, when somebody buys, like, 3 handguns in a month, the ATF get, like, this little notification that, like, pops up. They get notified. And then the ATF oftentimes goes to, like, people's houses and harasses them. And the ATF have also been involved in numerous scandals. There's been numerous scandals where innocent people have died because of their negligence. There was actually a situation that, happened, I gotta eat some, my horse, gotta feed my horse, right? So, there was basically, like, a situation that happened, I think, was it Arkansas? Was it Arkansas where it happened? I think it was Arkansas. It was a southern state, I remember that. But basically, there was this rich guy, who was in a southern state. And this rich guy, what he basically did was, in, like, a 6-year period, he purchased, like, over 200 guns in, like, a 6-year period. And what the ATF basically did is that they went after this guy, and they said that this guy was, like, suspicious and stuff like that. But, buying 200 guns in 6 years, yeah, people might think that that's crazy, but you're still legally allowed to do that. There's no law that says that you can't do something like that. The guy was rich. Like, he lived in a mansion. Like, he had a really big house, so the guy was pretty wealthy. But, the guy made $250,000 a year. And, the guy was, like, a big, gun enthusiast. And what the ATF basically did is that they broke the law because the ATF had a search warrant. They didn't have an arrest warrant. And there's a very big difference between having a search warrant and an arrest warrant. And the difference between a search warrant and an arrest warrant is that a search warrant just lets you search the premises. That's it. A search warrant can result in an arrest if they find something bad at the place. So, like, when they're searching, like, a place and they find, like, a murder weapon or something like that, then they can arrest the person. But if they don't find anything during the search, they can't arrest the person. And so, what the ATF basically did was they had a search warrant for this guy's property. And they went to his house, but the guy wasn't there. He was at work. And his wife said he's not home. Instead of the ATF basically waiting for the guy to come home, do you know what they did? They waited until, like, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then they pulled up with, like, 6 or 7 cars just rolling down the block, and they had, like, 20 or so armed agents. They ran on this guy's property, they knocked out the power to his house, and what they did was they disabled his doorbell camera, and they were trying to break down the door to his house, and they didn't have body cameras on. They didn't have body cameras on. And the guy was woken up at, like, 5 o'clock in the morning. He freaks out. He goes downstairs to try to find out what's happening. He sees somebody breaking into his house. He doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know that it's federal agents. And what the guy did was he took out his gun and he started shooting at their feet to basically get them to leave. Do you know what the ATF did in response? They basically just sprayed into his house, shot up his house a bunch of times, shot the guy in the head. The guy died before he hit the floor. Then they actually took his wife. They put her in the back of the, police car. And this is, like, in winter when this is happening, too. So she was taken out of her house in the cold, in pajamas. She was put in a police car, in a squad car. And she sat there for, like, 3 hours. She was not allowed to go to the bathroom. They weren't even telling her if her husband was alive or not. She was screaming. And then the ATF justified the entire thing by basically saying that the guy shot at them. Well, the guy shot at them, that's true. But when you really think about the situation is, you have a bunch of people coming to this guy's house at 5 o'clock in the morning. They don't announce themselves as federal agents. They turned off their body cameras. They cut the power to his house. They disabled his doorbell camera, and they were trying to break into his house. Most people would have reacted the exact same way. If you had somebody trying to break into your house at like 5 o'clock in the morning, most people would have gotten their gun too. So that was a understandable reaction. And they ended up killing this guy. And I consider that police brutality. I do think that was police brutality. I do think that was excessive force. That situation could have been completely avoided. They didn't need to do it the way they did. Like, why didn't they just go to his house in the daytime and just execute the search warrant the way they were supposed to do it? But the fact that they came to his house 5 o'clock in the morning, like, you know, and just imagine that you're 5 o'clock in the morning, get woken up, somebody cuts the power to your house, and they're breaking into your house, they're knocking down your door. Everybody would get freaked out. How the hell are you supposed to know that that's federal agents that are doing that? So personally, that's why I would, and I saw something really disgusting too, is that the ATF director refused to apologize to the wife of the guy who died, and he basically, when he was testifying to Congress, he said that your husband opened fire on us. But it was, you literally came to his house at 5 o'clock in the morning, you didn't identify yourself, you didn't use body cameras, you knocked out the power to his house. Anybody would have had the exact same reaction. So that guy's death was on them, and it was completely avoidable. So honestly, it's like an agency like that going after somebody for such stupid reasons like that, that is if I was president, I would have abolished that agency. I don't think that agency should exist. It's just such a waste of government money, and it's. Hey, Pro, how was Poland invaded so quickly, easily and quickly by Germany in World War II? Well, Poland has been a historically easy country to conquer. The reason for that was because Poland is a very flat country for the most part. The southern part of the country, where the Carpathian Mountains are, is more mountainous, but most people don't live in the mountains. Most people live in the northern parts of the country where the plains are. And so because of that, Germany basically did their blitzkrieg tactic, where they rolled in with, they rolled in with planes, they bombed an area, then they had the tanks and the armored vehicles go in, and the soldiers rushed in and they overwhelmed the Polish. And then 2 weeks later, from the east side, the Soviets invaded Poland. So Poland basically got overwhelmed by, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. So they wouldn't, Poland didn't really, and as a Polish American, I'll say that Poland didn't really have a chance at defending their country. They tried their best, they did everything they absolutely could, but there was nothing they could have done. They got invaded by two superpowers, by Nazi Germany and by the Soviet Union. No country would have been able to handle that. God, this guy's so boring and lame out of nowhere. I don't know how y'all are watching him. Well, look, dude, if there's something you want me to discuss, like, you can ask me a question. But I hope I'm not being boring. I'm trying to do my best. I'm answering as many questions as I can, but, go to Window Rock. Okay, here we go. Pro, are the KGB corrupt, and are they worse than the CIA, or are they both equally as bad as each other? Did they ever do any major scandals? The KGB have mostly been involved in assassinations. So when there was, like, suspicious deaths in history, the KGB are usually behind that. The KGB were known as assassins. That's basically what they were known. The CIA did assassinations too, don't get me wrong, but the CIA were more known as those guys that, like, did coups. They were, like, those guys that, like, worked behind the scenes and, like, helped a coup to happen. The KGB, on the other hand, were the guys who were known as assassins. They were the guys who would assassinate people that they didn't like. So oftentimes when somebody had a suspicious death that was never solved, it was the KGB who did that most of the time. So, that's what I'll say about them. Is the KGB was just as bad as the CIA, for people wondering. It was just as bad. What would realistically happen if firearms got banned? Well, if firearms got banned, you would probably have, massive protests across the country, but also you would probably have, like, crime would probably skyrocket, because then criminals know that that they're the only ones that have firearms, that people aren't going to be legally allowed to own firearms, so it's going to empower criminals at the same time, too. My ancestry is English-German. My ancestors were born by German parents in the UK, and they later moved to Delaware, and they later moved to San Diego and owned a furniture shop. Oh, okay, Aiden. I always like hearing stories about that, how immigrants come to America and they build businesses. That's the American dream. What's your opinion on bosses like Mr. Krabs in real life? I will tell you though is I've had a really bad boss in the past. It wasn't like Mr. Krabs where he was like greedy. It was more that he just didn't care. Is he would always push us, but he wouldn't really do much to help. That's what I would say about him. Though there are bosses like Mr. Krabs in real life. Maybe not the extreme, but there are bosses that are extremely cheap. No, I haven't played the newest Outlast game. Wait, what's wrong? Tanner? Wait, Tanner, did you make a comment again? I was trying to find your comment earlier, but I didn't see it. Did you make it again? Hold on a second, Tanner. Let me just look. My opinion on the NCR? That's what your comment was earlier? I think that the NCR is I think the NCR is an imperialist force that's basically a bureaucracy. Because the NCR will not give people a choice whether they want to be part of the NCR or not. They'll come in, they'll take the place over, and then they'll tell the people that they have democracy. But democracy starts with having the right to choose whether you want to be part of the NCR in the first place or not. And the NCR will destroy communities because they will impose heavy taxes on them, but then they won't even protect them. And in fact, if people stop paying taxes, the NCR is more likely to respond than if people do pay taxes. So if they pay taxes, the NCR isn't going to help them if they get attacked by fiends, but they stop paying taxes, they'll go after them. No, I'm not a bodybuilder. Would I ever try Final Fantasy? Maybe. Like, I've never played those games, though. Thank you, Sleep Punch Man.
Holy.
How are you doing today? Speaking of KGB, what if they were implicated in JFK's death? Well, here's the thing is, if any country was, if any, leader, like the direct leader of a country ever got assassinated, then, and it was linked to another country, that would be an act of war, almost always. I know the closest thing that's happened is I know when that Iranian General Soleimani, he got, killed by a drone, but he wasn't even the leader of Iran. He was like the second in command. He was a very powerful position, but he wasn't the direct leader. The direct leader is the supreme leader. So if any like head of state, like the leader of a country ever gets assassinated, that is basically going to start a war. Even if the country who has the leader assassinated knows they're not going to win, they're still going to declare war. So it's anytime a leader gets assassinated, it's going to basically result in a war. Do you think that we are close to World War III? No. I think that the tensions are much higher than what they were, like in the past. I think that it's more dangerous. It's definitely, tensions are much worse. But at the same time I'm not really, concerned with, like, World War III happening. Because when you think about it, is that World War III, nobody wins that. Nobody's gonna win that conflict. Because everybody was gonna get destroyed. And a lot of these dictators are also scared of dying as well, so nobody is, nobody's gonna do that, so I wouldn't worry about that.
At least their trials are over now. Unlike mine.
Well, I will answer the second part of your question. If they're, I mean, hang on one second, let me just look. I'll answer the second part of your question here. If it was like a conventional war with, like, no nuclear weapons, America would lose that war. And the reason that America would lose that war is because it's not that America has worse technology or even worse soldiers. America has a more elite military and more, elite technology. But the reason that America would ultimately lose a conventional war against a superpower like China or Russia is because nobody wants to fight that. Nobody wants to. And if America was to, like, get into a war with, like, Russia or China, for example, the U.S. government would do a draft. Because they wouldn't have enough men to match the manpower that, like, Russia and China has. Even though Russia, for example, has less of a population than America does, they have more people. They have more people in their military. So they're able to assemble a much larger force. Like Russia, for example, has like conscription. So like a lot of people in Russia have like military experience. So Russia was able to mobilize an army pretty quickly. If America was to do a draft, what would happen is you would have massive protests, like all around the country. People would be refusing to go to war, and they would be going to jail. So that's what I would say about it. Is that America would not win a conventional war against a superpower today, because most Americans are not going to want to fight that war. And also, when you think about it, think about it from the Americans' perspective. If you're telling, like, imagine that, like, you're an American kid, and, like, you're just getting out of high school, right? You're about to start up your life. You're getting out of high school, and then all of a sudden the U.S. government basically tells you, okay, we're gonna draft you, and we're gonna send you, like, across the world to fight Russia and China. Nobody's gonna want to do that. So so that's basically what I'll say about it. Is people are gonna, like Muhammad Ali, exactly. People are gonna do the exact same thing Muhammad Ali are gonna do. They're gonna refuse to go to the draft, and they'll go to jail. So that's what I'll say. Is that's at least what I think. Well, what I'll say about the draft is that, have you guys seen those news reports of the military, like, complaining that they don't have the correct amount of recruitment, like, amounts? Like, the military has, like, fallen short on the amount of people they've recruited, and the military's complained about this. Like, I've seen, like, interviews with generals and stuff like that that are, like, actively complaining that we don't have enough recruits, and, talking about all this stuff, that's getting all pissed off about this. But I'll tell you something, is, and I've always said this, and I'll say it again, is I love soldiers, I love veterans, but I hate generals. That's what I've always said that. I hate the generals, but I love the soldiers. Because the generals are just sort of touch, and the generals, they don't understand anything. And the thing is, though, is that these generals are struggling to understand why people are not joining the military. They're struggling to understand why they're not meeting recruitment goals. I've never even been in the military, and I can give you plenty of reasons why people are not joining the military. The reason people aren't joining the military is because, for example, the Iraq War did more damage to recruitment than probably anything else. Because of the fact that the government, lied, or they misrepresented the facts on the entire war. They basically got us involved into a war of a country that had nothing to do with us. Spent how many years in that conflict. Then in Afghanistan, the Afghanistan war was a justifiable war, don't get me wrong, because we were attacked, we had to respond. But the Afghanistan war, the way that it was ended, it was a disaster. Like, after 20 years that we don't even, have a stable government in Afghanistan, a government that supported us, that we just lost it like that, left all the weapons there. And that's basically point number one why people are not joining the military, is because they're scared of basically getting sent into a dumb conflict like Iraq. They're scared of getting sent into a stupid, another stupid situation just like that. And that's actually the main reason I didn't join the military. When I was in high school, and I was getting out of high school, it was 2012, that's when I graduated high school. I actually wanted to join the military. I didn't want to join the Marines, I wanted to join the U.S. Army. That's what I wanted to join. And I was thinking about joining the U.S. Army, but do you know what actually stopped me from joining the U.S. Army? That exact same year, there was a civil war started in Syria. That exact same year, or 1 year before, 2011. And what happened was the U.S. government was actively getting involved in that civil war. They were participating in it, like they were supporting rebel groups in it. And I was scared. I was terrified. I was terrified that it was going to be Iraq all over again. That's basically what I was scared of. I was scared that the U.S. government was going to start a war in Syria, and that we were going to, that we would get sent to the front lines in Syria, and that's why I didn't join the U.S. Army, because I was scared that, that I'd get sent to some, stupid war that's, like, across the planet. So that's basically was my main reason why I didn't join the military after high school, is because I was scared that the U.S. government was going to start a dumb war in Syria. And you really can't blame me for that either, because of just the fact that I saw what happened in Iraq. Like, I grew up watching the Iraq war, and I saw, like, it was such a stupid war, and just, like, seeing something like that, like, being scared that was going to happen again. I had a good reason to be scared that that was going to happen again. It didn't end up happening. We didn't actually, you know, we didn't actually invade Syria. We have some ground troops in Syria, but it wasn't, like, a massive invasion. So it didn't happen in the end, but that's basically was my concern. So that's, you know, point number one, is why people aren't joining the military, is because they were scared about getting involved in another, you know, stupid war like the Iraq war. They were scared of something stupid happening, getting sent over. Because think about it, when people join the military, they join the military primarily to serve their country, because they love their country. People that join the military are typically very patriotic. They join the military because they love their country and they want to serve their country. They don't join the military because they want to get sent, like, you know, all the way across, like, on the other side of the world to a country that they don't know much about and fighting some dumb, pointless conflict. They join the military primarily to serve and defend their country. They don't join the military to get into, you know, some, you know, dumb situation across the world. And the second reason that people are not joining the military, number one, is the dumb wars. Number two was that the military is not, the soldiers are not being taken care of. So, like, when the soldiers are coming back from these conflicts, they're not being taken care of. Like, if you just look at the VA, the Veterans Association, and you just look at the amount of stuff that they've gone through, like, soldiers that have been injured in combat are having such a huge trouble getting, like, medical care from the government. So, like, they devoted their life to their country, they've helped their country out, but, like, they've suffered injuries in battle, and the fact that the government is, you know, making it so difficult for soldiers to get medical treatment. And I've seen these videos on YouTube of this ridiculous scam that was going around, and this scam, I'll see it, Chaz. This scam that I'm talking about, this scam is basically, the U.S. government is responsible for the scam. They're the ones who have done this scam. But basically what happened was, in the 1990s, the U.S. military was really big. And the U.S. government wanted to cut the budget of the military. But there were so many people in the military. And so what the U.S. government did was, they basically paid a lot of soldiers to retire. So they told, like, you know, they told soldiers, oh, we'll give you like $10,000, $20,000 for you to retire, for, you know, you to get out of the military. So, like, they would basically, like, pay off soldiers so that they would retire and they would leave service. And what happened was, a lot of these soldiers that had, like, served in, like, the Gulf War, for example, they were collecting disability payments for their injuries that they suffered in the Gulf War. And then they took the retirement money, so, like, the $20,000 the government was offering, they took that retirement money, but they were also, you know, getting paid disability benefits from the government. And then what ended up happening was, like, you know, 30 years later, the government basically goes to those same soldiers who are, you know, much older people now, and they basically tell them, you weren't supposed to collect retirement and disability benefits. But nobody told them that. Nobody told them that they couldn't collect the disability and retirement benefits, and so these soldiers were told that they had to pay the $20,000 back. So imagine that, like, 30 years ago you go on retirement, and then 30 years later the government basically comes to you and tells you, yeah, you weren't supposed to get that money. You have to pay it all back now. And that personally pisses me off, because the fact that the government just basically spends money on so many stupid things, there's so many dumb things the government spends money on, and then they're going to be harassing, like, veterans, like, you know, disabled soldiers, and telling them that they have to pay, you know, this money back from, like, 30 years ago. So that's what I'll say about it, is that those are the reasons why people are not joining the military. It's not that the people hate their country or anything like that. It's just that they've seen the dumb wars the military's been involved in, and they see just how badly veterans are treated. So, like I was saying, is I love, you know, I love veterans, I love soldiers, I have huge respect for veterans, but I just hate the generals. I hate the generals, but I love the soldiers, and I hate the politicians too. So that's my view. I just hate the politicians, and I hate the generals, but I love the soldiers. So that's all. I hope I answered your question on, you know, why recruitment numbers are down, but that was basically it. It was, it's like, and the thing is, this like I said, I never served in the military, and I can tell you the reasons why people are not joining the military. But yet these stupid generals are, you know, they cannot put two and two together. Like, they cannot figure that out, like, why people don't want to join the military right now, and they don't even realize it's their fault. It's their fault why people aren't joining the military. I'll see you, Brandon. Take care, man. Good night.
Sell it when you like. So, what shall we create?
Was JFK corrupt? No, there's no evidence he was. What do you think of feudalism, Pro? Do you have a good understanding of it? Yes, I understand feudalism perfectly. I will say that about feudalism, is I think that feudalism is probably the one of the most unequal, I would say, like, economic systems that has ever existed in history is feudalism, and it's one of the worst systems ever. Capitalism is a much superior system than feudalism. I don't count feudalism as a capitalist system. It's not a capitalist system because it's very much a controlled economy. But the difference between like socialism and like feudalism, for example, is that in socialism and communism, everyone is equally poor. But in feudalism, the government is still controlled. But instead of everyone being equally poor, the aristocrats and the monarchy basically control the vast majority of the wealth, and they abuse the peasantry. So that's basically what feudalism is. Feudalism is a scam. It's a giant scam. It's basically a system where the peasant works for the aristocrat on his manor. A lot of times the peasant is not able to leave the manor that he works on for the aristocrat. You work for the aristocrat steals the vast majority of your crops, and the aristocrat says, "Oh, I'm protecting you," but yet you can't leave. And the aristocrat is going to constantly, steal your crops, steal your money, and you're going to have to pay rent to the aristocrat because you're living on the aristocrat's property. So imagine how stupid that is, that, you are living on this, in this manner, you're growing crops, the aristocrat basically takes like 80% of your crops, and you have to pay rent. And what happens is, if you question the system at all, if you say, why do I have to live like this? This is disgusting. This is ridiculous. What the aristocrats will say oftentimes, they'll say because God wants it like this. That's basically what they would do, is they would justify it directly with religion. So that's what I'll say about it, is that feudalism is such a broken system. It is it's an evil system. It's a dumb system. So it's capitalism is a much better system than feudalism, because at least in capitalism, capitalism might not be a perfect system, but in capitalism, everybody has the ability to rise to the top. I know it's hard, I know it's not easy, but you have that opportunity. But in a feudalist system, you don't have that opportunity. You don't have it at all. If you are a peasant, feudalist systems run on bloodlines directly. It's all about who your family is, who your bloodline is. So even if you are a peasant and you're a very smart guy, you're a very talented guy, you can't rise to the top. You can't do that. You cannot get out of your peasantry status ever. You will never be able to stop being a peasant, because that's how the feudalist system works, is that you will be seen as a peasant for the rest of your life. No matter how hard you work, no matter how talented you are, that is it. So that's why capitalism is a better system than feudalism, because like I said, capitalism, you can basically rise to the top, but in feudalism you can't do that. So that's why I've always said is that the French Revolution is probably the best revolution that happened in a European country, because the French Revolution pretty much abolished feudalism in France. The French Revolution was the end of feudalism. There was no more feudalism, and the French Revolution basically ended feudalism in a lot of countries. So a lot of countries started ending feudalism after the French Revolution, because what the French Revolution basically is this idea that you work hard based on your skill. That if you're a peasant, you can rise to the top based on your skill and merit, your talent, not based on your aristocratic bloodline. So I've never liked the system of feudalism. I think that it's I can't stand aristocrats. I don't like aristocrats, and so like nobles, like they're elitist to me, and so that's why I've just never liked that system. I think it's a stupid system. I never understood feudalism. Jesus' teachings are the complete opposite of its system, and it was used in the majority of European kingdoms, which were obviously Christians. Basically, feudalism was a giant scam, and when, if anybody knows who Ben Franklin is, Ben Franklin said historically, those who sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither. He was referring specifically to feudalist Europe when he said that. It was a reference to feudalism. Basically, yeah. Ben Franklin was referring to feudalism when he said that. And about where feudalism came from, feudalism didn't even exist in ancient Rome. there was like farms and like lords and stuff like that in ancient Rome, but in ancient Rome, you could become a successful businessman. You know, you could still rise to the top. There were some, you know, bloodlines and families, but it wasn't as broken as like medieval Europe. Medieval Europe was a much more unequal and uneven system than ancient Rome. Rome was a much easier system to get by in. Rome was a system that the Roman system worked a lot better for the poor. The poor had easier lives in Rome than they did in medieval Europe. Basically, how feudalism came to exist is that the Roman Empire protected, you know, people back then. So, like, you know, if you paid taxes to Rome, Rome would protect, like, you know, your trade. They would protect your towns. So you could, like, go from one town to the other, and you didn't have to worry about highwaymen. You didn't have to worry about bandits. Highwaymen were basically bandits that, like, were in the medieval times, and they would be basically on roads. And they would rob you when you're coming out of towns, and they probably would kill you. So highwaymen were some pretty brutal people. Like, they would, you know, kidnap women, they would rape them, they would enslave people. Like, they were really bad people. These were bandits that would ambush people, like, they would be typically in the woods, and they would ambush people, like, when you're going from one town to the other, they'd be waiting there for you, they would ambush you. That's why, if anybody's ever played Elder Scrolls Oblivion, in Oblivion, you know how the bandits in Oblivion are called highwaymen, and when you're going through the roads, they basically go up to you, and they basically say to you, you know, give me all your money now, or you can pass. That's basically highwaymen. That's what that was like in medieval times. And ancient Rome did not have a highwayman problem. There wasn't a highwayman problem because of the fact that the Roman legions dealt with them. The Roman legions killed them. So if there was any highwaymen, they would be killed and they would be crucified probably. So the Romans were very brutal towards highwaymen. There was no, you know, the highwaymen were you know, cleared out, and it was relatively safe. But what happened was, when Rome collapsed, there was no more security. It was barbarians from Germany had come in, they had pillaged Rome, they destroyed Rome, and now, like, the roads between towns were basically filled with highwaymen. There were these bandits that were just waiting on roads, and they would ambush and they would kill people. And what ended up happening is the rich Roman aristocrats, the rich people who were in Rome before the collapse, what they did was, they took their castles, like their mansions, and they built, like, these kind of, like, mini towns, like, around their castle. So they would, like, the big lord, the lord would take his mansion, and he would have this big concrete wall, like, built, this big castle wall, kind of, like, built all around his mansion. And in that wall, he would have, like, these small little huts that will basically be used for, like, the peasantry. And the lord would tell the peasants, oh, you know, come and live on my manor, and I'll protect you from the highwaymen. You don't have to worry about getting robbed by bandits. You can come work for me, and you can make a living here, and my knights will protect you. And so a lot of the peasants ended up going on these manors. They ended up going inside them to work for the aristocrat. But once the peasants got into the manor, they couldn't leave. They were essentially also property of the lord, and they had to pay rent to the lord. So the peasants would be given, like, this small portion of farmland, and they would basically farm on that land. But what happened was, they would have to give 70% of their crops to the lord. So more than 70% of their work, they would go to the lord, and they would have to pay the lord rent. And these peasants would basically, they would be stuck poor forever. They would never be able to become successful. They would never be able to make any money. They would have enough to get by, but they would be stuck poor forever. It was basically like a giant scam. It was a giant scam to trap the poor, trap the peasantry, and the lord would basically say, oh, I'm protecting you from, you know, the highwaymen. My knights are protecting you. And if you tried to question the system, they would also bring up religion oftentimes. They would say, this is how God wants it. So they would constantly do that. So feudalism was a giant scam that had existed in Europe for hundreds of years, and so many people have gotten oppressed because of it. Your thoughts on the Battle of Mosul in 2015? That's in Iraq, right? That's when Iraq was fighting ISIS. I actually don't know that much about it. It's good that ISIS has been destroyed, but I don't know much about the Battle of Mosul, though. I don't know much about that. Thank you, DHC. From the various game shows I've seen, I've encountered a number of contestants who are in the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, or Air Force, all in uniform. Yeah, and you know, people are very proud of their military service, and so that's what they're gonna want to wear also when it's on TV. And I also think it's kind of cool, you know, when you see people like soldiers, you know, participating in those game shows. What if America became a theocracy? What would you do? You mean a religious dictatorship? That would be stupid. You know, that would never happen. Okay, let me go over here to a mission. I'm excited for Mafia the Old Country. I'll play it when it comes out. I did see the new Sniper Elite, yes.
You really helped me out last time. Thank
I'll see you,
Nice
Holy
knowing
Golden
it's your
Nugget.
work, not robbing
Thank you,
for
man.
once.
Take care.
Although the work is robbing of a kind.
I could play
The
Fallout
Undertaker
London
in
one day, yeah.
Armadillo's had his wagon stolen.
No, I don't really follow
He's a
Gamescom.
very busy man. I wonder what will become of that town and this damn plague. The sheriff there seems completely in over his head. We're all hoping Lee Johnson will come back. Anyway, the wagon was last seen near Pike's Basin. If you could get it back and return it to Coots Chapel, you'd be doing a good thing. We need all the help we can get.
You know what the best depiction of aristocrats that I've ever seen in a video game is? If you ever played the video game Mountain Blade Bannerlord, Mountain Blade Bannerlord is a perfect example of how aristocrats were in medieval times. They're very greedy people, they're very selfish people, they would constantly demand more stuff from the king, they didn't care at all about the peasantry, they didn't care at all about the poor. I'm thinking about moving to Harper's Ferry with my family in the future since California is so expensive, and Liberty Falls from BO6 is based from Harper's Ferry. Wait, are you talking about West Virginia? Isn't Harper's Ferry in West Virginia? Oh, I could never play For Honor. I tried playing For Honor before in the past, and I got pissed. Like, people were so cheap in that game, and they would spam such cheap moves, I couldn't play it. I couldn't get into it. It pissed me off. Okay, one down. Damn, I didn't even see him. Man, the rain in this game has always looked really good. Do you think Christianity was more or less used as a weapon, we see, by kings and aristocrats, nobility, like threatening peasant workers with purgatory if they don't live by the system? I don't think that's the fault of Christianity. I don't think the religion has anything to do with it. I think that it was the fault of bad people that I think were using the religion to basically push this, you know, feudalistic system on the peasantry. So I don't blame the religion for it. I blame more the people that were trying to use the religion to justify, like, you know, doing bad things. What do I think of the Crusades? Well, the, oh crap, hold on one second. The Crusades were one of the stupidest conflicts in history, but they were also both sides in the Crusades were bad. Both sides were bad. Because, what happened during the Crusades is that the whole reason the Crusades happened in the first place was because the Saracens were attacking the Byzantine Empire. Byzantine Empire is where modern-day Turkey is located today. And the Byzantine Empire was left of the Eastern Roman Empire. So, the Byzantine Empire was getting attacked by the Saracens, and the Saracens were going on their own religious conquest. And the Pope Urban II called on a crusade to basically stop that. Pope Urban II did not like the Byzantines because the Byzantines were Christian Orthodox, where Europe was mainly, rest of Europe was mainly Roman Catholic at that time. But he preferred the Orthodox over the Christian Orthodox over the Saracens. However, though, the Crusaders did not actually keep that part of the mission. Like, they were supposed to just protect the Byzantine Empire, but they didn't do that. Instead, what they did is they went on their own conquest, and they started conquering, like, Iraq. They started conquering, like, Syria. They started conquering, like, you know, Jerusalem. So they were, you know, conquering all these other territories that had nothing to do with defending, like, the Byzantine Empire. And when the Crusaders, like, invaded, like, you know, Jerusalem, what they did was they mass murdered all the Muslims that were in Jerusalem. When Salah ad-Din actually ended up retaking Jerusalem, he didn't mass murder all of the Christians that were there. He actually allowed them to stay. So I would say that the Crusades were a like one of the stupidest conflicts in history. It was just a religious conflict on both sides. It was the Saracens were trying to do Islamic conquests, and the Crusaders were trying to do Catholic conquests. It was basically a war over religious conquest. It was just the war. It was just a completely avoidable war, and it was just like one of the dumbest wars in history that happened.
Thank you.
Let me see. I love your Fight Night Champion series. Are you gonna play Undisputed when it comes out? It's a boxing game by Deep Silver. Yes, I know the game that you're talking about, and thank you, Yeast, for the super chat. I'm actually gonna buy the game. But is it gonna have a story mode? I hope it has a story mode. But yeah, I will play it when it comes out, yes. And thank you for, Fenrir's Game Bar. Thank you, man. I always say nice things about you, Patrick. My mom said you're very nice, like, your, last video I watched. There was a new game that is like a World War II sci-fi World War II game that has Roman, von Ergen Sternberg, as an AI ally. Sorry if this don't make sense. Thank you, Fenry, for the super chat. $50 super chat, largest super chat today. Thank you, Fenry. Wait, can you explain a little bit more? You don't have to super chat me, but can you explain a little bit more? Thank you, Fenry. Special shout out there to Fenry. Chuck is a manipulative liar? Wait, who are you talking about? What Chuck? Well, thank you, thank you, Fenrir, and, thank you, Fenrir, and thank you to your mom also. Thank you, man, for the super chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for watching my channel and supporting me. Oh, why is that, Mario? I like crab meat. I like seafood a lot. Oh, great, I died. What do you think happened at Capital Wasteland for Fallout 3? The Brotherhood probably left a force there to stabilize it. Well, that's fine, I guess. He's entitled to his opinion, Mario. I'll play Fallout 4 one day. So what you're saying about the Crusades is that both the Knights Templar and the Muslims used the Holy Land as an excuse for their own expeditions. Yeah, the leaders of that time period used their religions basically to go on conquests. I don't blame the religions for it, like I said, but I blame like the leaders at that time period, like the leaders and the aristocrats, the nobles at that time. Hey Pro, saw your million sub video. Proud of you. See how far you've come over the years. Much love. Thank you, Spud Gunner. Thank you, man, for the super chat. No, I haven't, Gunner, but there is a Vietnamese restaurant in my town in the Midwest. I want to go visit it one day. What happened in a Commonwealth in Fallout 4? The Brotherhood and the Minutemen probably entered an alliance. Yeah, it's like I fought Aiden. Do I think that GTA Plus is going to ruin Grand Theft Auto 6? I don't know. We'll have to see. Honestly, I'll tell you something. I just hope that GTA 6, the multiplayer, is something more unique. I hope it's not a constant grind. I don't want to see a constant grind. What is my favorite Boondocks episode? Easy. The one with the Xbox killer. The one with the Xbox killer when, it's season 1, I know that. It's, when, Huey and Riley, they go to Ed and Rummy for help to find the Xbox killer to prove Tom innocent, and then they go to that mini-mart, and there's, like, that big shootout. That's my favorite episode. Man, I really, I'll tell you something. We really need Boondocks to come back. Boondocks needs to come back. It needs to, because, like, imagine, like, the current political climate that we have today. Imagine all the dumb things that Boondocks could make fun of today. Like, I could imagine Boondocks to make fun of so many things today. Like that show needs to come back. It 100% needs to come back. It definitely needs to make a comeback. I can imagine they would parody so many things today. And that show is so politically incorrect. That's the thing about Boondocks. It was a really funny show. Yeah, I heard about that, Ricky. You know what episode of Boondocks I really liked? I really liked the episode. But a lot of people don't like it, but I liked it a lot. The one episode that I really liked, I think it was called, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was called Invasion of the Katrinans. I think that's what it was called, or the Katrinans Invade, or something like that. Does anybody know the episode I'm talking about? The episode was basically when Hurricane Katrina was happening, and, in New Orleans. And the, Robert's, like, distant family, like, his cousin Jeremiah, like, came by to, like, stay with him until, like, the hurricane ended and he could go back, but they weren't going back, and he was just taking advantage of the situation. Does anyone know the episode I'm talking about? Like, when he was just, like, constantly taking advantage of Robert and taking advantage of everything in the house. They didn't want to work. They didn't want to do anything. What is the best time for me to apply for monetization? I have 1,000 subscribers and I get around 100,000 views on at least one video a month. That's really good. For getting you have 1,000 subscribers and you make one video a month that you get 100,000 views. That is yeah, that's really good. Apply for it now. Try applying for it now. Yeah, Lil Wayne was in it, but the thing about that is that episode, the reason I like that episode is because I knew people like that. Like Jeremiah, like people that would take advantage. Like I knew people that were very similar like that. Not from my family, but like people like, for example, that I worked at work with. Like I had people just like that because you know how every single time Robert helps Jeremiah with something, Jeremiah's like he's all like, oh yeah, you know, Robert is like, you know, I'm gonna help you out. I'll help you out when you know, I get my FEMA check coming in. I'll help you out. I'll pay you back. And he's just constantly saying that I'll pay you back, but he never does. And he's always saying, oh, you know, you're such a good guy. I'll help you out. And I knew people like that at work that would constantly ask me to cover their shifts. They would constantly ask me for favors and stuff like that. I would end up doing work that I didn't have to do, like work for other people. Like I would be doing extra tasks for people. Like when my stuff was done, I would do it for other people. And they would say, oh yeah, you know, I'll help you out. I'll pay you back. You know, I owe you one, Patrick. And whenever I needed help with something, they were never there. They were never there to help me. And so that's why I liked that episode so much, because it's just, I knew people like that would just take advantage of you. And I will say something, guys, about this, is there's a simple trick that you can do. And I'm telling you, this trick works. And this is a trick to basically stop people from taking advantage of you. Very easy way to stop people from taking advantage of you. What you need to do for this trick is that when somebody asks you for help, and you don't know whether they're taking advantage of you or if they actually need help, here's what you do. Help them with whatever they need help with. So if they ask you for a favor, just help them. Do the favor for them, help them out. And then when you need to do something, even if you don't need help, but you need to do something, ask them for a favor to help you, even if you don't need the help. Just to see how they react. Just as a test. Just see how they react when you ask them for a favor. Because you helped them already. And depending on how they respond, you're going to know whether they were taking advantage of you. If they tell you, for example, that, oh, you know, I'm busy right now, like, you know, I can't help you at this moment, they might be trying to get around that. What you do instead is you tell them, okay, when are you not busy? When are you free to help me? When can you help me? And if they give you another excuse, a second excuse after that, well, I don't know, you know, my schedule is all over the place. They can't, even if you tell them, when can you help me, and they still don't give you a specific time, they were taking advantage of you. That's it. Because somebody who's taking advantage of you is never going to want to help you. They only want you to help them. They're not going to want to help you. And so if they do help you, if they do immediately come by and they help you and they say, you know, I'll help you right away, that's a good friend. That's somebody you want to keep in contact with. And if it's somebody who gives you excuses and they tell you, no, you know, I can't, I'm busy right now. And even if you tell them, okay, when are you free? And they still don't give you a direct answer when they're free, and they still can't help you, that person is not worth, you know, hanging out with. That person is not worth associating with. They've taken advantage of you. And the next time that person asks you for a favor, don't give them any kind of reason. Just basically, don't even let them suspect that you know that they were taking advantage of you. Just basically say to them that, oh, I'm busy, I can't. So if they ask you for a favor, say the exact same thing they were saying to you. I'm busy, I can't. You don't have to explain. Just say I'm busy. That's it. Exact same thing you gotta do, and it works. So that's basically how you know people take advantage of you. Is just help when they need a favor, help them out with only one favor. Because even if you get taken advantage of one time, it's only one time to get taken advantage of. It's better to get taken advantage of one time than to get taken advantage of for years. So that one time, just help them out with whatever they need help with. And then when you need help, call them for a favor. And see how they react. And if they give you excuses, then you know that they've been they've been using you. Have you tried any spicy Korean noodles? No, but I've tried really spicy Japanese noodles. I do generally like spicy noodles, but what I'll say about the spicy noodles, is one thing that I've learned is don't drink a lot of water when you're eating those noodles, the spicy noodles, because you're gonna want to drink. But what I try to get as much of it eaten and then drink water, because if you drink water, a lot of water, like if you drink water every single time you bite into the spicy noodles, you're not gonna feel good afterwards. So too much water during that is not good. Make sure to drink water when you're drinking eating any kind of spicy food, but don't overdo it with the water too, because that's not healthy either. Any interesting history you can tell us about Hungary and Bulgaria? I actually don't know that much about Hungary. I know a little bit more about Bulgaria. I know about how Bulgaria was in an alliance with Serbia and Greece during the First Balkan War, and then the Second Balkan War. During the Second Balkan War, Bulgaria was not happy with the land they had received, and they wanted more land. They declared war against Serbia, and they lost. And then Serbia took a chunk of their country. And then during World War I, Bulgaria sided with Germany against Serbia. I know that. Thanks, bro, for the advice. No problem. Water is actually not good against hot food. Milk is better instead. Oh, okay. I'm just joining in, but congratulations on achieving over 1 million subscribers. Can't wait for future content on your channel. Thank you, somebody32. Thanks, man, for the super chat. Thank you. What are my favorite chips, bro? I'll show you in just 1 second. My favorite brand of chips, I would say, is Lay's Sour Cream and Onion, probably. Or no, Ritz Sour Cream and Onion, not Lay's. Ritz Sour Cream and Onion is probably my favorite chips. Those are really good. But I also have another bag of chips that I really like. I'll show you in just actually 1 moment. No, my father hasn't been smoking for like 10 years. He's always told me that smoking is the worst mistake that he's ever made in life. Oh, okay. I actually have a pair here. Hold on. Are you from Legia? What's Legia? Okay. Would I rather hang out with Sonny Forelli or Dmitry Askalov? Rather hang out with Sonny than Dmitry. Definitely not with Dmitry. My favorite game is Saints Row 2. Okay, let's see here. No, I don't drink any alcohol. Oh, I win. Okay. Let me just show you my favorite chips. Just give me 1 second here. Be right back. Okay. Okay, so these, I'm not gonna eat during the stream. These chips, I started eating these recently, like a couple months back. These are actually my favorite one. Fritos, flavor twists. Honey barbecue. I actually really like these. These I like a lot. Oh. Okay. Let's see here. 7 and Ace. Mountain Dew and Doritos. Well, there is like a meme about that, like the Call of Duty players are constantly eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew. Well, I went to school for law enforcement technology, Zach. You know, I got a bachelor's in law in that, but I didn't end up you know, going into police because I was pretty successful on YouTube and I enjoyed doing what I was doing. Snack Who's. Oh yeah, that's from Ace Attorney. I remember that too. That's Yeah, I know chips are unhealthy, but it's a snack that I've always just liked in general too. I tried eating vegetable potato chips before, but I couldn't. They were just too I didn't like those. I did like tomato potato chips though. Tomato ones, those I did like. But I didn't like the other vegetable potato chips. But hey, for people wondering like, you know, about potato chips, it's better like here's the thing is what I'll tell you guys about junk food is junk food is there for you to enjoy. I know it's not healthy, but it's just there, you know, it tastes good. It's just a nice snack that you can have. It's not bad to, you know, to have junk food every now and then. It's not even bad to have, you know, fast food too. You know, it's good food too at times. It's yeah, it's like don't overdo it, and you'll be fine. You know, that's what I'll say about it. You know, don't be like those people that are just going so crazy, like thinking that's gonna affect their weight like so much. Like, you know, as long as you don't have chips like every single day, it's not a big deal if you have like a bag of chips a month. So it's not a big deal. And think about it this way: is it's better to eat potato chips than to drink and smoke. Just think about it that way too. So there's, you know, much more unhealthy things that people can do. And also, I'll tell you guys something. What you can do is you can give up one form of junk food. Like just think about one form of junk food in your mind that you can give up, and you'll never do it again. And then keep the other junk foods because then at least you gotten rid of one, and then you can compensate for, you know, other junk foods. You know, eating that. Like for example, you know what junk food I gave up? I gave up soda. Soda is I have given up soda and I haven't drank soda in like, you know, 12 years or so. Um that is the only thing I will have is if my stomach is hurting, I'll have a ginger ale if that counts as soda. I don't know if that counts. But I haven't drank any kind of Coke or Pepsi or Sprite or Mountain Dew in like 12 years. Literally, I'm not joking. I've not, you know, had any of that. So literally, soda is the thing that I have not, you know, I don't have at all. So that's what I gave up. I refuse to give up potato chips. I can't give up potato chips, so I can't give that up. And I can't give up fast food either, like hamburgers and stuff like that. I love hamburgers, so I can't give up hamburgers. So that's and one thing that I've tried to do to compensate for that is I've tried to cook my own hamburgers. So I tried to make, because it's much better cooking your own hamburger than like going to McDonald's. So that's one thing that I've done. I drink ginger ale without you know, caffeine in it, but occasionally, not all the time. You know, people say that ginger ale is much more healthy than soda. I guess it technically counts as a soda. It technically counts as a carbonated drink, but it's nowhere. Ginger ale is nowhere near as bad as like it's nowhere near as bad as like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is much worse for you. Fold here. Oh, I had a queen there. I actually could have won with the queen. Oh, well. Was I a bully in school? No. People made fun of me in school. I don't know if they're necessarily bullied. Maybe you can say I was bullied. But it was more people made fun of me when I was in school. What, Mario? Raking in what? I'll see you, Irish Lizard. Take care. I wish, you know, the thing about the Gunners and the talent company, I wish there was evil karma quests for them. Like, I wish you could actually associate with them if you had evil karma. Did I stand up for myself? No. A lot of times I didn't. Oh, I'm gonna win this hand. I'm gonna win this. Where's part 22 of LA Noire? What? Part...
Things going okay?
There isn't a part... Okay, I will fix that then. Oh, no. He had 2 pairs. Oh, well. I don't drink soda in a long period of time, but I started drinking soda, yes, ginger ale. I don't drink Coca-Cola, and I don't drink Pepsi. I know sodas are fake. I don't get addicted.
Oh, hello.
You know, I'll tell you something, you guys want to know something? I'll tell you something about junk food that my mom told me about. And, you know what my mom told me about junk food once when I was growing up? My mom told me that junk food is only something that Westerners are concerned with. Because my mom grew up in a communist country. She grew up in communist Eastern Europe. And so my mom told me that junk food is only something that Westerners worry about. She said that Westerners should be glad that they even have junk food, that they even have access to food like this. Because she said that in her country, when she was growing up under communism, they didn't have stuff like this. They didn't have stuff like soda. They didn't have stuff like, you know, potato chips, like hamburgers, and, you know, all this stuff. So these are luxuries that people can have, and maybe they're unhealthy, but they're at least stuff that you can enjoy. They're at least stuff that you can still like and enjoy eating. Maybe they're not the best for you, sure, but they're still, you know, pleasure foods. You know, stuff that you enjoy eating. But other countries, they don't have stuff like this. They don't have, you know, all this food that we have too, even if it's unhealthy. It's still food that we have the luxury of eating. So that's what my mom has told me, that she told me that she wished that she had all this food in Poland, all this, you know, even the unhealthy food that Americans have. What are your parents' opinion on the United States? They think that the United States is the greatest country in the world. That's both my parents think like that. And for me personally, the U.S. is the greatest country for me personally. I can understand why people believe their countries are the best country, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But just for me, there's no other. Just for me personally, the U.S. is the best country because there's nowhere else I could live. I'm an American, and there's nowhere else I could live besides this country.
Well, good old man Peabody's cows keep coming up dry.
Yes, that's true. My mom says that the westernization was the best thing that happened to our country. She constantly says that she wishes she would have also had the luxuries when she was younger. Don't you live in Estonia, though? Estonia, right? I remember you said you were from the compensation for not winning that hand. Anyways, you've seen the news about the floods in Bangladesh. It's very sadistic from the Indian government. What have they done, Zuhair? Thank you for the super chat. Wait, you made a comment earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Thoughts on Indian government flooding parts of Bangladesh. It's horrible. I didn't know about that. What have they done? Was she brainwashed? No. My mom wasn't brainwashed into communism. She knew that communism was a bad system. I asked my mom, you know, I asked my mom how she knew that communism was a bad system, like, because the thing is, when she was growing up in a communist country, they told her that America was this evil, you know, horrible, you know, disgusting place. But my mom didn't believe that. She knew that America was a much better country than where she was growing up. And I asked my mom, I said to her, how do you know that America was a better country than communist Poland if you'd never been there before? How did you know that America was a better place, and it wasn't this evil place that your government was describing to you? And she said that it was the movies. That it was the Western movies, like the American movies that were smuggled in. Like, when she watched, like, American movies that were smuggled in, that, like, showed what life was like in those American movies, she said that just from those movies alone, she knew that America was a much better place than Poland was. Does your mom know about solidarity in Poland? Yes, of course. Do you know any movies she watched? No, I don't. I would have to ask her. Movies are not realistic. Sure, but the thing about that is, in movies, you can generally see the type of food that people are eating in movies. You can see the cities, the cars, what their country looks like in movies. And so, I've watched a lot of movies that take place in different countries, and I've never been to those countries. Like, I've watched movies that take place in, like, Britain, for example. I know what Britain looks like, just based on those movies. Like, I've seen movies that take place in France. I know what buildings in France look like based on those movies, and stuff like that. And so, movies might not be the most accurate thing, but at least you get a little bit of an understanding of what the country looks like, and what the culture is in those countries, too, just from watching the movies. My mom actually liked the USSR until she learned how much better it is outside of it. The USSR media constantly showed that they are the greatest, but when my mom learned the truth, she was disappointed. And that's the thing is, when you're growing up in a regime, but then you find out that everything the regime has, you know, taught you about the outside world is, you feel horrible. But it's good that your mom had, you know, gotten out of that, you know, gotten away from that, and, you know, thinks about it differently now. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Phoenix. You have my condolences.
Damn, if that's fashion, I'm happy to be out of style.
Did Zuhair comment again? Zuhair. Hang on, Zuhair, did you comment again, man? Sadly, false news about flood in Bangladesh is made by India. What do you mean? Can you explain a little bit more, Zuhair? Would you ever share your parents' stories? Well, they really have no problem with me talking about it.
Welcome back. Something slip your mind before?
One of my uncles on my mom's side actually managed to flee Vietnam in the 80s, and he settled in San Francisco, and he did return to Vietnam often, until COVID claimed his life in 2020. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Gunnar. You have my condolences. Did I see the video of Botswana having a really huge diamond? I did. And I really hope that diamond goes to helping the people in Botswana, that it doesn't go to other countries. Because if I was to choose a country in Africa to live in, it would be Botswana. 100% it would be Botswana because Botswana is one of the least corrupt countries in Africa, and the leaders in Botswana, they actually cared about their people, and they actually invested like the diamonds in their country back in their country, built up infrastructure, built their cities, and raised their people's standards of living. So Botswana is a Botswana is a fascinating country. I know I have a few viewers from Botswana too. I could possibly do it CW games, but I have a lot of playthroughs to do right now. But Zuhair, can you explain a little bit more? You don't have to super chat me, but if you could explain a little bit more. I'm just really curious of what you mean. I also gotta check my LA Noire videos. Did I mess up on my LA Noire playlist? Hang on a second. I have to check this. Did I mess up on the LA Noire playlist? Let me just see here. Did I get them in the wrong order?
It might be time to invest in some new stitches.
I did mess up on the LA Noire. Okay, 2 parts. It should be... Okay. Okay, part 22 on here. Yeah, I messed up on one thing here. Okay. Okay, I'll fix the thumbnails on that. Thank you for telling me about that. I appreciate that. I don't know. It was kind of a bit cringy when I had the song there of the Mega Man. I mean, I like the Mega Man song too, but... Former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and India's Narendra Modi are on the limelight for releasing the floodgates to release the water from the dam from India. They intentionally flooded parts of Bangladesh? That's horrible. I'm sorry about that, Zuhair. Oh, thank you, Kayla. Thank you for the comment, Kayla. So, I guess I'll probably be wrapping up the stream here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys also for watching the stream. And I'll fix those LA Noire thumbnails. And also, guys, in like 20 to 30 minutes, I'll have the next part of Ace Attorney up. If anybody wants to watch it tonight, I know it's kind of a late night video. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for helping me to achieve my dreams of 1,100,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome, and it just means so much to me, your support. You've helped me out so much, and you boosted my confidence, and I'm the happiest that I've ever been in my life. So thank you guys for the support. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.